the Michigan House of Representatives and took office in 2015, I expected that relationship with the public and the Freedom of Information Act to grow even stronger. But instead, I was startled to learn that the law no longer applied. You see, Michigan is one of just 2 states where our governor or our state legislature aren't subjected to the Freedom of Information Act. 48 other states have figured out how to make transparency work. If you think that's out of line, it is. If you think that's outrageous, get outraged. There is no valid reason for this. No valid reason to excuse our lawmakers and our governor from the same basic transparency laws that apply to every other level of government. Every other level of government plays by those rules. From dog catchers to game wardens, from school board trustees to universities, all subjected to the Freedom of Information Act. Even our state attorney general, Bill Schuette, was subjected to the Freedom of Information Act this week by a request. But when it comes to Governor Rick Snyder, we can't demand to see his emails. Think about what that means. When a disaster like the Flint water crisis happens, we can't insist that he hands over his emails and his papers. Instead, he has to do it voluntarily. Do you trust him? No! Shouldn't there be a legal recourse if he withholds information from the public? This isn't right. And when it comes to the legislature, you also need to know if people like me are doing my job right and that we're serving you rather than special interests. You ought to be able to demand information from me and from my colleagues. I honestly believe that if my colleagues and I are doing our jobs right and the way that it should be done, we have nothing to hide. That's why this session, I took the lead on a bipartisan package of bills to expand Michigan's Freedom of Information Act to cover the governor and the state legislature. This is a project years in the making. I started introducing this my first term when it was pretty much a Democratic-only led proposal. Now I'm happy to tell you that when the package came up for a vote recently in the Michigan House, it received unanimous support. All Democrats, including my colleagues here, and even all Republicans voted for it. Now, it goes to the Senate, where its future is uncertain. Because in the Senate, even though it has bipartisan support, the Senate leader, a Republican, is holding it up. We need your support to make this package of bills a reality. I urge you to call your state senator and tell them you want to see our state's Freedom of Information Act cover the governor's office and the state legislature. This is especially important if your state senator is a Republican. I can't stress to you enough. This passed the legislature in the House unanimously. Every Democrat, and for our Trump folks in the back, every Republican voted for this as well. Now we need that support in the state Senate. We need to lift us from being 50th out of 50 states in terms of ethics and transparency. We are fighting to be the 49th state in the country that does this, but we can do it with your help. Our state senators need to know this is important to us and that we are ready to fight to see this happen. Are you ready to fight? Can we count on your support? Thank you very much. It's great to be with you today.